Alright, Lee, are you ready to talk about this little unknown gaming franchise, right? You've probably never heard of it. It's called Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes, I'm ready to talk about this very unheard of franchise.
Now, me and Lee figured, while getting ready for the movie here, who better to make the official, definitive Five Nights at Freddy's tier list than two morons that no one's ever heard of?
Yeah.
So what me and Lee's going to do is we're going to be looking at the first four games, which I think it's safe to say they're the best in the franchise, except for one. So we're going to start from the beginning, and we're going to talk about things like what pros we think the game has, what cons, who our favourite animatronic is, who the worst animatronic is, the best and worst jump scare, and then we're going to end it with our own wee personal hot takes for the games.
And as we said, we are beginning with Five Nights at Freddy's 1. That is what we're doing right now. So let's begin, Ben, with the pros. Okay?
Right, so the first pro we have, and like whenever you think of Five Nights at Freddy's 1, this is one of the first things people think about. It's the sound design for the game in general.
The sound design is nuts.
I think this probably has some of the best sound design from the franchise.
It's because it being the first game, obviously it's unique. And that's not pro, obviously, because it's the beginning. It's the thing. It's literally the game that started everything. So, you know, you can still sit there and be like, oh, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is my favorite, or Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is my favorite. But Five Nights at Freddy's 1 is what created those games.
Normally, whenever you're playing the horror games, you have like things like Slender Man or Outlast or something. You're always moving in those games, but in this game, you're just a sitting duck there. You're just sitting in that office, waiting for them to come and diddle your holes.
Yeah, exactly, the diddle your hole. But yeah, as you said before, the sound design, because it being the first game, obviously we had no idea about the sound design, and it's great. Everything from the menu music down to gameplay, down to jump scares, to everything.
Even just like the wee little details, like, you know, you can't see, obviously, a big known fact about this game, you can't see the kitchen cameras. But you can still tell when she goes in there, because God knows what she's doing in there, but she's always moving the pots and pans for some reason.
Some people don't think of it, really, especially if they're not doing the game design and stuff like that. But like, even the simple, just you're sitting in the room with no music whatsoever, but there's just a fan. You hear, and then you see the fan in front of you. The fan's just going on in the background. And then putting up and down the cameras. Just the sound is great. The sound, like, I believe visuals is not all you need to make a great horror game. Sound is definitely needed.
That is true, and that's why I think this game does the best. I mean, like, this game's strongest suit. It's the sound design. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is, of course, what Five Nights at Freddy's is known for: the great jump scares.
Yes, jump scare simulator.
And we will be talking more in depth about two certain jump scares. But I think for the most part, this game, it has a great jump scare sound effect, and I think overall, just like the way like most of the jump scares, just them flapping their lips is just, I think it's good.
It's a classic. Like, the jump scares in this game are, when people talk about jump scares in horror games now, I only hear people mention Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, people forgot that jump scares exist in other horror games, because all I hear about in jump scares is like Five Nights at Freddy's.
I think another thing with this is like, most horror games before this were they were more scripted than Five Nights at Freddy's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the jump scare would be part of the story, but with Five Nights at Freddy's, most of the time the jump scare is you don't know when it's coming. I think that also adds to the horror of it. Another big pro this game has is the solid gameplay. I think
the gameplay is solid. At the time, it was unique. Like you said, every other horror games like Slender Man and stuff, you were walking around a big open area, either finding things to help you complete the story or the horror game. It was a lot of movement, basically, and as you said, the jump scares too, they're even part of the cutscenes and part of the gameplay. And Five Nights at Freddy's just said, hey, you are sitting your ass down in an office chair, and you're just going to wait for these guys to come to you, and you're going to have to close the doors, but watch out, you have power, don't run out of that. Well, Freddy's going to but yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of it. It's not just like, look at the camera, close the doors and all that. Like, that's obviously the biggest part of it, but you also have to watch your power. You have to start watching Foxy and Freddy as well. Freddy's another guy you need to keep an eye on.
We can definitely say there was a reason why Five Nights at Freddy's back in 2014 was the most popular game, because it was just really unique. It was something new to the horror franchise, and it's a lot of fun.
The next thing we have is, and this is probably still the biggest thing about Five Nights at Freddy's. But for this one, it was more just a mystery rather than full-on lore. You know, you had things like the phone man, he calls you up and he's all nonchalant going, yeah, this job's great. Some child got their frontal lobe bitten off, that was kind of cool. You know, it's it's nuts job, you know.
I feel like that'd be you, the fucking phone guy.
I should be playing the phone guy in the movie, I'm just saying. No, but I think that was kind of a bit of comedy in the first game as well, just how like the phone guy just kind of breezes past all that. Where like yeah, you know, they'll try stuff you in a suit, you know, they might try kill you, you know.
At least you're getting paid.
You're getting paid, and you barely get paid as well by the end of the fucking game. It's just not worth it. But yeah, you know, the mystery though, because the mystery became like, who did the bite? Was it one of these animatronics? Was it Freddy? Was it Bonnie? Was it Chica? Was it the obvious choice, Foxy? Which weirdly enough it wasn't. But, you know, the mystery to it, and then there was even other wee mysteries like why the posters would change to like crying children. The Golden Freddy mystery, like what the hell was that thing? You know, just stuff like that. I feel like the mystery and the lore is definitely what's keeping Five Nights at Freddy's alive right now. Even though in my personal opinion, I feel like the lore has gotten a bit too silly for my taste.
Yeah, the lore, I think the lore just went on for too long. I think that's just what it is. Because eventually, story goes on for far too long. It's gonna drop. That's just what happens.
If you still enjoy the lore, that's absolutely fine. But to me, I feel like, especially with some newer things that came out, I feel like what made the first few games so scary was the fact that it was a little bit grounded in reality. Obviously, there was still some paranormal stuff going on, but it was a wee bit grounded in reality. Now we have all this sci-fi stuff, and I don't know how I feel about that fully, but for the first game, it was just like a mystery. You know, who did the bite of 87? Who killed the phone guy? You know, there were all these great mysteries that I think were handled very well by the Scott himself. So another thing we have to talk about for the pros is you know, something I love in horror games: the atmosphere of this game.
Oh yes, the atmosphere.
Like I'd say, Five Nights at Freddy's does atmosphere the best.
It does. Like, not only the moment you start playing, you're immediately immersed in the game. Like you feel like you're sitting in that office. You feel like you're there. Like it's actually happening, and it's just it fits the tone so well. Like the atmosphere in the game, it's like. It suits the franchise with the tone it's going for, with its colors and everything.
That's something that's lost in the later games is in the FNAF one. The office is very claustrophobic. It's really small, and then you have something like FNAF 2 and 3 where the office is a little bit bigger. And I feel like the smaller office was better.
And I also like how the office as well. If I remember, it was like flustered. There was like shit all over the desk. There was posters lying everywhere.
Very dirty man. But yeah, I think it was really good. And then even just that, the atmosphere, that also leads into the sound design where sometimes you just hear a fan, next thing you'd hear like walking, you'd hear Freddy's laugh, you'd hear the pots and pans and all that, you'd hear Foxy singing. But another thing this game does really well is the uncanny design of the animatronics themselves.
Yes.
Because you know, obviously they're robots, they're not supposed to be alive. So yeah, the designs are pretty cool.
Yes. the designs are indeed pretty cool. See, for me, it's because they're just classic, you know? Like, you can say, oh, I like the Wizard ones more than the first ones, or oh, I like the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 designs more than the first ones. But the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 design, the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 designs are just like, it's a great beginning place. And not only that, personally, they're my favorite. Like, I like the first designs of the animatronics more than any other game because they're iconic. They're like they're simple in design, but I think that's what simplicity sells you on it.
Like, the biggest complaint I see about things like well, mostly FNAF 4 is people think the animatronics are trying too hard to be scary. But this game kind of it proves that sometimes it's the simple things that are scary.
Yes,
because these are animatronics that you could probably see in a restaurant.
And it's just iconic, like, it's the iconic set. The brown bear with a hat and bow tie, the purple bunny with a guitar, the yellow chicken with a cupcake, and then the fox pirate. And then, of course, you can also count Golden Freddy and stuff. But it's the best. It's just there, you know? It's so good.
Thing to talk about as well is every character kind of has like their own thing, you know. With Bonnie, it's like the lack of eyebrows, and he's like, I think he's the one with like the most expression to him, because sometimes he'll be like, he'll have his face right up in your camera, with the black soulless eyes. Chica, she's got that big gaping beak. Freddy, he of course has like the noises, and he also has the staring right into the camera. But then you have Foxy, who was all like, he was all ripped up and all that, and that led to a lot of good theories about him. And I don't think we ever got an answer to what happened to him in that. If we did, let us know. But I don't think, maybe in one of the books they gave a reason. I haven't read the books.
Does every character just like you can tell that it's just a set of original characters with their own designs, and like it's just great. The designs are just they're great, and in my personal opinion, nothing beats the original designs.
Now we're gonna get this pro out of the way. Fungi. Fungi will always be a pro for
Yeah,
these games.
Fungi.
Always. Like I unironically actually love, like, I love. I've mentioned before. I love the way he just like. In a way, I kind of see him as the comedic character of it, because it's just the way he calmly tells you could die on this job. That drew into the comedy, and
it was funny though.
I really hope Fungi's in the movie, because I haven't seen him in any of the trailers. If you look up the cast, I don't see anyone with Fungi next to them. Like, even if it's just for like a brief cameo, that will automatically make the movie, like, that'll give the movie an automatic 5 points if Fungi's just in it.
I can't remember if we already talked about this, but I just wanna. This is gonna be a quick one as well. It's scary. It's scary. You know, it does its job right. It's a scary game. Final Freddy's kind of did like everything right. The first game kind of did everything right. Audio design, character designs, how scary it was. You know, it was just the perfect indie horror game. Anyways, you talk about the next pro.
And the final pro actually is a wee Easter egg thing, and there's a funny story behind this Easter egg thing. So people used to say if you typed in 1987 in the custom night, something would happen, but nothing would happen. So what that Charles Scott Cawthon did is he made it to where when you type in 1987 in the custom night, you get a jump scare by Golden Freddy. And I just thought that was cool, so I put that as a proof.
Nice little Easter egg.
Now we get to the cons, and the first con is one of the main things to get ready for this, I watched a lot of like reviews of the first FNAF game to get ready for this, but this was a common theme, and I agree with it. The jump scares do kind of become less scary and more annoying as you go on.
Yeah, you definitely get numbed to the jump scares. This kind of goes for most Final Freddy's games, most, not all of them. But yeah, you do. After a while, you do get numbed to the jump scares, because it's just you've experienced it so much. You played the game for how many hours now, trying to finish all 5 nights, and you're just like, you go from to piss off. Leave me alone. Like that.
That's not bad. But like most games that are jump scare heavy do kind of run into that problem.
Yeah.
That's it's no fault of the game. It's just, you know, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And this is another thing that can be said about most of the FNAF games. But the gameplay style does get repetitive at times.
Yes. Especially we're not on this game yet, but especially with Final Freddy's 3, I feel. But Final Freddy's 1, it does get very repetitive. Because that's just how it is. It's essentially a point and click game. You know, it's going to get repetitive. For me personally, I didn't mind the how repetitive it was in Final Freddy's 1. That only really affected me down the line in the other games. Right. But yes, games getting repetitive. That a lot of people with short attention span. Yeah, they can get bored of Final Freddy's like an hour or so, but not me. I can't get bored of the first game.
But that's going to do it for the pros and cons. There's obviously for a first game in the franchise, it does not have that many cons to it.
Yeah, it's mostly just like by simply playing the game a lot, that's where the cons come in. You know, it's just repetitive, and the jump scares get very just like meh.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is who our favorite animatronic is in the game. So Lee, would you like to go first now?
Oh, favorite is Foxy. Foxy is my personal favorite. He's kind of been like my favorite in all of the games, but Foxy's only really my favorite. Let's just talk about the first game specifically, because one, his design, it was really cool. I just saw the fox pirate, was really cool, and the whole hook hand, and I also liked how he runs. Like you see him running. All the other animatronics in the game, camera blurs, it goes off, and then they've moved. But Foxy, you see his ass sprinting to you. And that's freaky to me. And it's so good. He's just a really well done animatronic. Foxy's my personal favorite.
I agree, Fox is my favorite as well. And I like them because of those reasons, but I also like that I feel like he was the most I feel like actually for the most games, he is the most unique one. So I feel like Fox is just a cool character. He also, again, he had that mystery to him of why is he out of order.
And then meanwhile, for my worst animatronic, my least favorite, holy, it's Chica. Chica to me was the most boring, right? Because you had a purple bunny with a guitar, sick. I know Freddy was just a basic brown bear, but Freddy was still cool. And then Foxy, obviously, being mechanically the coolest and also just the best in design. Chica was just a yellow duck. The cupcake was cool. I like the cupcake, but
Yeah.
but it's Chica's just like, okay, whatever.
Now, you know, she got some cool things. Again, like the sort of wide open jaw was kind of creepy. But I feel like, you know, she didn't have, like, you know, with Freddy and Bonnie, they'd sometimes have the big black eyes staring into the camera. I don't remember Chica having any of those.
I don't think she did.
Her being at the window as well made it, you know, easier to tell when she was gone. With Bonnie, you have to look at the shadow whenever you're flashing the light when the door's closed. She was still cool, but she was like the least scary out of a scary bunch, if you know what I mean. So the next thing we have is the best jump scare in the game.
You want to go first in this one?
I will go first. I'm going to give it to both of Freddy's jump scares.
His door one and then his other one.
Yeah, the power out one.
Yeah, the power out one.
I just feel like, you know, the main man himself, he has the best jump scare in the game. We'll start with like the power out one. It starts with the flashing lights, and that can either go on for a long time or a short time. Then you hear his footsteps creep up to you, and then you're just waiting for the jump scare because it could happen at any time. So like the power out one, it's the build up to it as well.
Yeah, and that build up is great because the whole time like playing the little the music box theme and this glowing eyes and the pitch like black darkness. It's great setup.
That's another thing that needs to be in the movie. And then of course you have the other jump scare where Freddy's different, and Freddy, you're not, unlike the other animatronics, you're not really told how to deal with Freddy. Because like with Bonnie and Chica, you're told here you close the door, you're fine. With Foxy, you watch him and then you see him run down the hall, so you know to close the door. And then Chica and Bonnie, you get to actually flashlight and see them at the door. With Freddy never gets that stage where he's at the door.
My favorite jump scare is also Freddy for the exact same reasons. The whole setup for the power one, and then of course his other one where he attacks you from like the right side. Like that's just great. They're all great.
I think this is another thing we both agree on, the worst jump scare, and I think most people, like with the best jump scare, some people can probably make arguments for Bonnie or Chica, but the worst jump scare, I think everyone agree with, FNAF 1's worst jump scare is Foxy's.
Yeah, because it's not even the jump scare really. It's just
He just peeks in.
He peeks in, goes ah, and then
But,
like
don't get me wrong, it's scary the first time you see it, but I feel like
yeah,
the build up to the jump scare is scarier than
in
the
the actual
jump scare
yeah,
itself.
exactly. And then I used to see some like memes as well back when FNAF started to get really popular. It's like after like the camera like cuts off when he jump scares you, people are like, what happens then? Because people just make what ifs, like he doesn't even kill you, he just leans over the door and starts like chatting you, like, hey, what's up? You doing good? Like
I know because of his jump scare, people, they came up with like this. And this was one of the worst theories in the whole Five Nights at Freddy's run. People thought like Foxy was a good guy or something, and he was coming in to check on you, but the night guard died of a heart attack or something. It was such a dumb theory.
Like at first you kind of think like, why is this jump scare like that? But I think it could have just been as simple as like Scott just didn't know what to do with it. Like maybe he just didn't know, or maybe he just got lazy, you know, whatever it may be. He just, at the end of the day, Foxy's jump scare is just lackluster, and it's kind of terrible.
And now we're gonna move on to this will either be your favorite part of the video or your least favorite part of the video. Our personal hot takes for the game.
I'll say mine first. This isn't probably the biggest hot take, but FNAF 1 is the best FNAF game. But FNAF 1 is just the best one. It's the one that started everything. It's the one with the best designs because, you know, the simplicity just really does it in for me. And as well as just, for me, it's the one that has the most replayability. It's the one I've played the most because it's just, I find it so fun to play that one specifically over and over and over again.
That's probably like a lukewarm take, I'd say, but right? This one actually is a hot take. We'll get ready to be burnt here. Now, always that fun guy did cheat a wee bit here, I did, because the hot take isn't about the game itself, but at this point, this has become FNAF 1 and this thing have become inseparable with each other. But I think the first Living Tombstone Five Nights at Freddy song is absolute dog shit. I hate that song with a passion, and I have reason. This isn't just a thing where I'm like, oh, this is a popular song. Oh, I hate it. Urgh. No, I do have my reason, and my reason is because that song has been overplayed so many times to the point where I've just got that is the Let It Go of Five
Yeah.
Nights at Freddy's band songs. That song was everywhere, and I just got so sick of it. Then FNAF 2 came out, people kept replaying it. It's not against Living Tombstone. The fella makes good songs. Like I enjoy his second Five Nights at Freddy's song, but this song it's just not my cup of tea now. So it's just not ruled then now.
Well, I remember when you first told me that. I can't remember. I think it was when you first told me that. Like years ago, I was like, I like it, but I think that was only mainly because it was popular. You know, like it was like home, 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 and then like the lyrics, and then it was awesome and all that. But now, I think it's just okay. I'm not the. I like the beginning part of it. Like the beginning part is like it's literally the theme song now of Final Fantasy. It's like he accidentally created the theme song, so I like the beginning bit. But then the moment the singing starts and it starts like that beat starts to drop, I'm just like, it's okay.
Like if you like the song viewer, that's absolutely okay. But for me, I'm just gonna say if that song's in the movie, I probably will cringe a little bit. Fair play to him. If he gets a song in the movie, fair play to him. But me, I just don't like the song.
I think like the theme bit of it's gonna be in like just the hum 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 hum. I think that's gonna be in it because it's in the trailers, so that's gonna be in the movie. But I obviously the full song though, that's like 50-50.
And again, fair play to the fella for accidentally making the theme song to the franchise. But it is just a thing of I think it got overplayed, and I just got sick of hearing it personally. So now we're gonna do this little thing we're doing. At the end of every video, we're gonna place the Five Nights at Freddy's game we just reviewed into a tier list. You know how tier lists work by now. They were very popular back in 2020. So, Lee, where do you think the first FNAF game belongs on this tier list?
FNAF 1, despite it being my personal favorite, it is a solid A. That is an A. That is an A game.
Anyway, I think when it comes to, especially a franchise starter, I feel like it did what it needed to do. It was fantastic as a franchise starter. And yeah, I think even if this was like the only FNAF game, I feel like it would still be good.
Yeah. It probably just wouldn't have a movie.
True. But I feel like other games down the line do pick up what this game did and do it better. So yeah, that's what we think. What would your rating of FNAF 1 be like?
Well, on my backlogged account, I give it a 4 stars, but 4 stars is a bit, you know, that's just a bit limited. So I'm gonna give you the out of 10 rating here. Final Fantasy 1 for me is a solid 8 out of 10 game.
For me, I'm gonna give it an 8.5, I'll say. An 8.5. You know, there's too much good for me to give it any less, but then there are still a wee few things in there, like the jump scares getting a bit, you know, less scary as the game goes on. And yeah. I do understand why people wouldn't enjoy this game, because it is a simplistic game, so it is understandable why some people wouldn't enjoy it as much as others.
And speaking of people enjoying Final Fantasy, please let us know in the comments below what your favorite Final Fantasy game is. We'd both love to know, actually. Get the conversation going in the comments. Maybe even get a little fight in there, because I know some people are just going to complain.
Some people are going to complain because they don't like opinions. But yeah, you know, tell us your pros, your cons, your favorite animatronic. Because every question we answered in this, you let us know in the comments below, and we'll go through them, and we'll tell you why you're wrong. All right.
Mostly wrong. Because our opinions are so weird. But yeah, we just want to thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we shall all see you later. Though please do not forget to check out Ben's channel, because part 2 will be over on his channel as well.
That's right. We'll be doing the review of FNAF 2 over on my channel, which I think it's safe to say that's the fan favorite game.
Yes, I think that is the fan favorite. I thought 4 was, but apparently I'm on.
Dead wrong.
But yeah, thank you all for watching, and see you all later. Goodbye.
And then with a jump scare.
Oh no, that's so good! Okay, and now I'm gonna actually stop recording.
Nights at Freddy's. Yes, mate. If you say you're not recording, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
How'd you meet?
You motherfucker.
I was like,
I was going in, Lee. That was an intro and a half.
I was like, wait a minute, because I did a video recently where I had to take off desktop audio, so I was like, wait a minute, did I turn that back on? I clicked into OBS, only my mic was recording. Again.
Stop it.